Hey guys and occasional girls, my name is GrrrVahrrr and this is Shank. The story, which I'm gonna totally spoil, takes place in the Mexican type stereotype land and is presented by the series of flashbacks to Shank's dark past. Later we find out that Shank had been absent for 6-7 years, apparently jerking off somewhere in the desert all this time, but now he's back and starts his quest of vengeance by killing the first guy named the Butcher. Not this butcher, this butcher. The second person he's gonna kill is Cassandra, who threatened Shank's girlfriend with a sword, and paid for that with her life. Then we turn to the guy named Angelo, and the best dialogue in the entire game.
I have failed in the eyes of God. Forgive me, Father, for I will sin.
I should call you Lazarus.
I should call you fucked.
Followed by an incredibly funny torture scene. Although Shank manages to pull a magic trick out of his ass and escape killing Angelo, which brings him to the last guy, and a glorious revenge. You know what? The story is kinda awesome. It's simple and it starts kinda slow and lousy, but it gets more and more interesting during the game. And for a 2.5-hour game, it actually transforms into a very stylish movie, which leaves only awesomeness in an aftertaste. But what this game really is about is combat. And it rocks! Using your knife, heavy weapons and firearms, you butcher your way through hundreds of enemies, leaving oceans of bloody gory mess behind you. It is fast, it is visceral, and it's really incredible. Although it has its problems. The first problem being the foreground sometimes gets in your way, and you can't see shit what's going on. Or the screen starts to switch between inside and outside of the building mode, which makes the fight painfully irritating. I have to be fair, it happens rarely, but it does. The second problem is that there is little use for any weapons except for the default one. You can finish the game using only default weapons that are incredibly awesome, satisfying to use and effective. In my playthrough I found that the best way to kill big guards is to jump on them with a chainsaw, which saved lots of trouble in difficult situations. But all this makes finding weapons kinda pointless and not interesting. It also makes combat a little bit more boring than it should be. It doesn't get old using default weapons because the game is so short, but if we are talking of multiple playthroughs, you may end up using weapons not because they're effective or you need to use them in certain situations, but because you're bored out of your mind with a chainsaw killing, which is mind-boggling but can actually occur. The only weapons I found useful are the firearms. I use shotguns constantly, the Uzi is fun, and jiggling corpses in the air with an unlimited Gatling gun is super entertaining. The third problem, and the biggest one in my opinion, is the boss fights. Most of them are way too easy and not interesting to take part in, as much as the cutscenes of killing the bosses are awesome to watch. Let's check them one by one. Boss fight number 1. Boss charge, dodge, push button, animation, repeat. Boss fight number 3. Shoot cow corpse, boss charge, push button, animation, repeat. Boss fight number 4. Boss charge, block. The first time you will need to use block on normal difficulty, by the way. Animation, repeat. Boss fight number 5. Boss charge, dodge, animation, repeat. Boss fight number 6. This one is a little bit more interesting. Push boss into flames, push button, animation, repeat. But boss fight number 7 is absolutely the same as number 1. Boss charge, dodge, push button, animation, repeat. The final boss fight is the copy of the boss fight number 4. Boss charge, block, then instead of animation you actually have to push some buttons yourself, thanks God! The only boss fight that I liked was the boss fight number 2. This one actually stands out, because it is a boss fight in a nutshell. A test of skill you acquired during the game. What a boss fight should be. But it is the only 1 out of 7. This game can only get away with such horrible boss fights, only because it's so short. 2.5 hours go in a flash. And boss fights will take you maybe 15 to 20 minutes maximum. And the killing cutscenes are kind of fun. Although, as I said, the mechanics are god awful and there is no excuse for that. Overall, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, and I find that the game is totally worth it. Actually, if you are after a cheesy, bloody Mexican-style vendetta experience, you should totally go for it. And it's much better than most of the movies that came out lately, a phrase that will never get old. And even better, if you have someone to play it with. I've heard that co-op is actually really fun. So, the name is GrrrVahrrr, and I shall see you from within my next video.
Goodbye, goodbye, see you again. Goodbye, goodbye, see you, my friends. Goodbye, goodbye.